Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Waiting on Jacob to join us here. Should be in just a moment. Really excited for this week's Instagram Live. And if you are tuning in and you got some questions, please make sure to answer them. In the question box at the bottom, and we will get through them as we go through the questionnaire here. Hey, how's it going, Jacob?
Good, man. How you doing, Eric?
I'm doing well. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think we're all set here. So
Good.
we've got about 59 minutes on the dot.
Right on.
We got people joining us now. So I'm going to say this probably 5 times throughout the course of our conversation, but thank you all for tuning in. We've got Jacob Karp with us, CEO of the Inventing Room, and this episode will be up right afterwards on Instagram if there's something you wanted to catch, as well as on YouTube shortly. We're getting a little backed up with these. We're trying to get them out as quick as we can. So for everyone tuning in, Jacob, why don't you do a quick intro about yourself and your business?
Well, thank you. Thank you, Eric. The pleasure of being on here.
Yeah.
Little introduction about myself. I was lucky enough to find my passion in cannabis at a fairly early age. With that, I kind of had a lot of advocacy and education in my experience. I did a lot of extracting unprofessionally, of course, in which I helped a lot of families and their children. That in which I kind of fell into the Make-A-Wish Foundation and actually kind of was lucky enough to meet that group a little bit, work with them as far as recommendations for dosings on CBDA and THCA for children, of course, who couldn't have psychoactive compounds. So really, really proud of that. We were able to do some great things. I continued on into the state license program. In Arizona, we didn't have a medical program until about 2012.
Okay.
About 2013, because it was in December. Yeah. When that happened, I met a group of guys who started the first state licensed dispensary, in which I was lucky enough to begin to start the first state license extraction laboratory. It was C1D1, the whole nine. We did hydrocarbon extractions. We moved to ethanol extractions, in which I was also led the team where we were the first to release distillate in Arizona in the state licensed program. Okay. We continued and had great success. I left and had some consultations where I went around all around the country, did some things in California with pesticide remediation, did some just hydrocarbon extractions, some solvent-free things. And then finally, I met the guys at Grow Sciences, led a great team of guys there where we dropped the first state license release of full melt hash and live hash rosin. Really facilitated a lot of growth in the solvent-free market, really kind of elevated the demographic there with the connoisseurs who were kind of slowly taking over our state. And I started the Inventing Room in March. Very blessed and fortunate enough to take the leap and start my own company. Very excited new business owner. It's a family-owned and operated business ran by my wife and I, as she's our CFO.
Nice.
So we're really, really excited. We're really going to hit the ground running. We have some cool things going. We just released our first merchandise drop, kind of wearing it here. It's a little hash rosin in American Sign Language.
Nice.
Where we
Very
donated all of the proceeds to the American Society for Deaf Children.
Very cool, man. That's great. And for everyone, we've got some people tuning in. Jacob Karp, CEO of the Inventing Room. Now, I know that you've been watching some of these. Last week, we just had Matt on from Grow Sciences.
Yeah.
So how long were you at Grow Sciences, and what did you do there? And then what caused you to make the transition to start your own business?
Well, I was at Grow Sciences for a little over 2 years.
Cool.
I was interviewed in early 2017, right before we got their extraction up and running. Worked with just an incredible group of guys there. It was really, really a team effort all the way through. We had some really great guys from the cultivation with me in the lab. Just really can't say enough good things about those guys.
Awesome.
Together, we were able to do the live hash rosin. From that, we did the hash rosin, of course, as well. We did a little bit of sift rosin where we did some of the refining and cleaning up the heads and whatnot. Just a little labor intensive. We were finding really good success. We're just kind of banging out small craft quality, but commercial numbers. Just had a lot of great success with them for, like I said, a little over 2 years. COVID and everything, just affected so many things so dramatically. I think for me personally, the Inventing Room has been a long time coming.
Hmm.
You know, I've been innovating in this industry since as long as I've been able to. Arizona's always a little late to the party, but we
Hmm.
learn in the time that we take. Like I said, we've only been in state operations since about 2013.
Okay.
So been doing that, utilizing all my skills and opportunities, networking, really kind of creating putting myself into the community. And for me in the inventing room, we don't look at it as much as an industry as much as a culture. You know, it's really how we live, how we breathe. It's our mantra every day. So to just find like-minded people who did the same thing was just very
Hmm.
natural and very organic.
Yeah.
I was very lucky to kind of have it fall into my lap, meeting all the different groups of great people.
Hmm.
And now I've just finally decided the time has come, and I think that we're going to be able to do some amazing things with this new company.
Awesome. So one of the things that Matt had said in the previous episode that we did was that the license situation in Arizona is pretty expensive and a difficult, complex process. You know, I've got a
Yes,
ton of questions for you, but before we dive in heavy, for everyone who is joining us, if you've got a question for Jacob, total expert, hit the question box at the bottom. It's got a little question mark in there. If you have some questions, drop them in there so we can keep them straight and also try and sprinkle those in. So, what does the license process look like in Arizona, and where are you guys at in that process?
okay, well, like you said, it's definitely a little lucrative. Really is just based on exorbitant entry fees.
Damn.
Really just comes down to there's a couple ways you can go about getting a license.
Mm-hmm.
They're all fairly generic, but they can be very complex in the groups that you decide to work with. It really comes down to you can, of course, purchase a license, which would be the most expensive. Those can range anywhere from 5 million upwards of 23, depending on the model and vertical integration.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can do some sort of licensing agreement. Of course, that can become very meticulous with whatever group you're doing it with
Mm-hmm.
and can have a range of any stipulation.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, you can do what's probably the most popular. You can do what's leasing. It's just a typical rent. Again, fairly large numbers to keep these facilities rents going.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can find your way in between all of those, or you can, in a sense, kind of do two of the three. If you purchase a license, you won't need to do the others. And with a license, once you have a dispensary license, you have the availability to you have a cultivation, a kitchen, and a laboratory license.
Okay, so those licenses are all wrapped up under one. Getting
They
them
are.
net new is difficult. What was your game plan setting out with the inventing room? You know, I think a lot of people who tuned in would find that either they want to start their own business or that
Of
they've
course.
been through the process of starting their business and the difficulty of that. What did that look like for you, and what pushed you over the edge to start your own? You said that you had been thinking about it for a long time.
Yeah, you know, I think everybody, especially in today's economy, really kind of starts to think to themselves, could they do things on their own? You
Mm-hmm.
know, people are starting to work remote. People are starting to do things on their own as we're having
Mm-hmm.
a lot of issues, people losing their jobs and whatnot. So I
Right.
really think it always comes down. I think people want to better themselves and people want to do it for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it really fell down to this is what I do. This is my life. My passion just exudes out of me with
Mm-hmm.
everything I discuss with this topic and everything that is this topic. So, with that, of course, with everything business related, it's all connections. Networking, I say, no matter what state you're in, what your business plan or model in is the
Mm-hmm.
most important thing. You have to have connections, you have to network, you have to know who is in the community in a sense you plan to enter. We're
Mm-hmm.
all under this canopy together, we're all in the lifestyle together. But once you get into a license holder discussion, it's a different table.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of a smaller table that people are very inviting of, but it's lucrative. It's a little difficult to get in and it's small. So with
Mm-hmm.
that, our direct approach immediately, first and foremost, was to be to find a like-minded group,
Mm-hmm.
really shared our core set of principles and values, really understood where we wanted to bring this industry and this culture, and really our vision for Solvent Free. We really see a lot of our demographic here in Arizona shifting to a more clean product. The chemical free really excites almost about anyone, untrained or not. Um, and really the facilitation of not just the understanding of no chemicals, but the education that goes behind these processes. In the inventing room, a big backbone of ours is going to be education.
Mm.
It's always been something I've tried to admit personally. It's always something I've tried to be very transparent on. I love teaching. I love spreading the knowledge, and I feel we have a very interesting thing going on here where people really enjoy the end product, but not a lot of those people understand how it's made. And I think one of the best reasons to really enjoy an end product is to kind of know the certain mechanics that make it so great and so powerful. So for me, it's really about showing people how that's done, showing people why that's maybe sometimes better than something else available on the market. And we're only trying to be better than ourselves. We're really excited to be new in the market, to be new business owners, and to be able to learn from other business owners around us and license holders.
So it sounds like, you are really focused on cultivating, positive community aspects and networks. What does the market look like down in Arizona compared to maybe some of the other markets that you might be familiar with? I'm under the impression that it's medical only. What are
It
some
is.
other attributes going on in Arizona that, me being up in Colorado, that I might not know that other people could be interested in?
Well, like you said, it is just medical only.
Mm-hmm.
We have a recreation going on the ballot this year.
Nice.
We expect it to pass, but obviously, who knows? It's always up in the air.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, with our medical program, like I said earlier, Arizona is always maybe a little late to the party, but we learn a lot from the time we take to get there. I've heard several times from a lot of people in different states that Arizona is one of the better places to be as a license holder, as a business owner. Probably a little bit due to that lukrativity a little bit, but really just down to the fact that we have a very open education. We have a demographic of people who want to learn. And we really have a very tight-knit community here in Arizona. We only have had a medical program since 2013. When we started, we had less than 80,000 patients. Right now, we're at almost about 250,000. So in a city where, Phoenix is one of the largest cities in the country, when you have a city so large and that, in a sense, few people a part of this industry, it's very tight-knit. Everybody knows one another. Everyone's not a lot, but everyone's trying to really spread the positive vibes and really kind of bringing everyone together is, I think, what everyone's about, but it really facilitates in Arizona. It really, really digs deep. There's really a melting pot of people who really bleed passion on almost every turn here. Again, with that small table, there's not a lot of people doing it in Arizona as far as the solvent-free market. So it's exciting that those people kind of have the opportunity to do a lot of research and development. I personally am looking into a lot of different consistencies. There is a lot of things to tap into with solvent-free. And with the market right now, I feel like Arizona, we're kind of all on the same beat. A lot of us have different passions and different excitements, but from the relationship that the cultivators have with the extractors, from the relationships that the retail associates have with the patients, I feel like there's just a very true connectiveness here in Arizona that I don't see as face value in a lot of the other states that I go.
Okay. And do you think that Arizona has probably imported a lot of the strains and ideas from like California, for example, and some of the other mature states? Have people come in and tried to make it their own in Arizona? Or are there some
Absolutely.
unique properties in Arizona that make it its own? I'm sure it's a bit of both.
No, absolutely. Like you said, I think we learn from everyone around us. There was a time, and that's really what kind of drove me to really dive into this solvent-free and to create products for the masses, is that there was a large time in Arizona where it was very difficult to get solvent-free products. You really had to know the guy to get it. I think we've all had that problem, but it was very severe in Arizona. No dispensaries were releasing it. There was none on the state license program, and then truly there was very little in the traditional black market. So with that, it was very hard to find some. And then together, we then continued to look into what could be. And I always wanted it to be available. And California, everyone was always going to California. People were always going to California and enjoying it and learning from it and getting it. And the same thing with Colorado. People were always I felt like Arizona was almost a truck stop. It was almost where people were just resting. People always seemed to leave to get the product. And that's something that I really wanted to change. I wanted you to be able, the locals, to get the incredibly good quality solvent-free products. And with Grow Sciences, that's something that we were able to do. It's something with the inventing room that I plan to continue to do on a very large commercial level, while still maintaining that small quality, that small craft quality. And the cool thing about that community is, again, going around the country, I was able to learn from these people in California. The Inventing Room collaborative projects is going to be an incredibly large backbone of the company. I plan to bring people from California, Colorado, big named extraction artists, and bring them down and work with each other, create collaborative products, learn from each other's processes, and really grow as an industry so we can all push each other.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's super inspiring. And one of the things I really want to key in on that you mentioned is, the lack of education. And I use the term solventless, and it's funny because this is one of those education things where I think solvent free or solventless, depending on who you ask, there's a different answer. What kinds of education do you feel like people soak up the most? And what kinds of education can businesses and business owners such as yourself, do to educate the community and bring them into the solventless fold?
Absolutely. Well, I think there's a very fine line between necessarily consulting and educating. As the Inventing Room, we really love what everyone's doing in this industry, no matter what it is. And we understand consultants and working for themselves and paying and kind of utilizing their knowledge is really something we hold dear. And it's something that we don't want to step on. We don't want to be here to give out all the secret sauces and the secret formulas. Right. To be completely transparent, I think the Inventing Room secret sauce really is not necessarily a meaning of mechanics or a technological advance as much as it is just our positivity and love we put into the product. But there is things that people don't know, and there's a lot of things that people can grow from learning. So I think that as a company, you can really mandate a education on what a product is, without necessarily having to go into every single mechanic on how it's made.
Okay.
I want to really kind of get in between that line of showing people how a product is made, just in the sense where you can appreciate why an extra step is useful. We're really big on not cutting corners. The Inventing Room, we live in a circle. We don't have any corners. We can't cut any. We're really big on just being transparent and positive, but we want that to be noticed. We want those extra steps to not only be reciprocated through the quality of our products, but for a patient, because that's what we have is in the medical product. We want our patients to understand why that makes our product just that much better.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. For everyone tuning in who's joined a little bit late here, we've got Jacob Karp, the CEO of the Inventing Room, a new solventless focused extraction operation out of Arizona. Jacob has a ton of experience. Tell us about what you've learned along the way doing solventless extraction. We've heard from a lot of people that have been on the show, there's some real hard lessons that a lot of the hash makers who are tuned in here have learned too. What are some of those lessons, and what would you pass on to people who are tuned in to get some value out of the mistakes and the things that you've learned along the way?
Absolutely. Well, I think the most important thing to know, especially with how I look at everything, is that there is value in every mistake you make. You have to learn from it, and you have to be able to grow from it. And those hash makers, they're not wrong. There are some serious L's that can be taken in the solvent-free department. And I think if you've pushed yourself as a hash maker, if you've really stretched the limit of innovation, you've hit that. It's a guarantee. That's really how you push the envelope. That's really how you learn. That's how I think we've gotten all the incredible things we've gotten out of this. And it's because of people like that, and like myself, that are willing to not only take the L, but strive to learn what it is and to get around it. It's really about pushing yourself, not only as an extractor, but as a person. And I think as for solvent free, it's something, it's really very spiritual for me. It's something very personal for me that it really makes you kind of find yourself. You really have to push yourself, because the quality and the translation of this product to me is the most important thing. Like I said in the beginning, I come from traditional hydrocarbon and distillations. And that is a world where starting material is not a key focus.
To put it right, not for many, certainly for some. What why did you make the shift from solvent-based extraction methodologies to focus either exclusively or primarily on, hash and rosin and the solventless side of things? Where did that shift happen, and why did it happen?
Well, I think it happened with kind of exactly that. I was doing a lot of hydrocarbon, ethanol distillations, just doing a lot of things where that was kind of the main purpose. I worked with a lot of white label companies where, I worked with a lot of dispensaries where it was our goal to take a great product and make it greater. But with isolations and white label, it was all about getting crude that half the time had pesticides in it. And we had to remediate those pesticides. And it was often a little bit more difficult in the time before the clays. And things like that. And when we did that, it was, to me, it really showed there was a lack of love in the connection of the product. For me, it wasn't a friendly relationship of going to a facility and meeting the team and the gardeners and learning their love and really reciprocating how the love they put into the plant and what they do. That was all gone. For me, it was just a very transactional, very collect the 55-gallon drums of crude, distill it, get it to the companies that put their name on it, and it just goes. I felt almost like just someone behind the scenes. And it's not about having a face, not about being the face, but for hash and for solvent-free, for me, it's all about the translation. It's really about that great product can only be translated into a great product or into a better one. That initial starting material and the love that's put into it from the growers, from the harvest team, from everyone in that facility working on it. To me as a hash maker, it's my job to then translate that love into the product. And that for me is kind of where I say it's a little bit of a spiritual thing. It's for me just really continuing the positivity that I think it just holds this whole industry down.
I really like the way that you put that, that translation process. And that's one of the things that Phil, Soil Grown, had spoken a lot about when he was on a month ago, talking about the relationship with the grower. And if you don't have good relationships with growers and you're trying to be successful processing solventless, chances are you're just not going to be successful because you can't get that material and they're not going to give it to you anyway. So when you're talking about scoping grows, making friends with growers, checking out, what are some of the things that you're looking for and that are good indicators that whatever product you're going to receive could work out very well for your, hash or rosin processing?
Well, again, kind of to go with that mantra, you can always just tell immediately with the team, the positivity and the amount of love put into the grow. That's first and foremost. We're really all about connecting and spreading positivity. But of course, like with any group, it has to be with like-minded individuals. It has to be with people who, it has to be with people who really understand our vision and understand the greater vision of constantly producing high quality products for the people spending their hard-earned money on them. So that's first and foremost. Once we get into the actual quality control aspects of the grow, I will typically, and traditionally with this small aspect of the community we have here, I have a lot of relationships with these lead growers already and these facility managers already, in which we kind of have these understandings of what they do in their processes that make their product a little bit better. And, that comes to them, again, educating me. I come from growing as a trade in my background, but I'm always here to learn, especially from a cultivation manager who's doing a lot of plants. And for me, it's all about learning about their facility, learning about what they're doing differently. Of course, the COAs, but it really just comes down to the heart, the love put into the product. And then, of course, the most important, the quality. The quality, the COAs can show cleanliness. I think the love will show the quality, and the quality will then show itself. And if you have all of those in a one pot, it's just the marriage we're looking for every time. And it's something that we've really been lucky to create a lot of really established relationships with a lot of great facilities out here doing some incredible things.
That's awesome. I really like the way that you put how, you work with these growers and what you're looking for. And is the goal to make, really strong connections with them so that you can get their latest, greatest strains and then process those? Are you in communication with strains with them that you're interested in processing, or is it more taking in what they're excited about and then creating that translation, like you said?
Well, I think I'm always trying to find that excitement, capture it, and translate it. But at the end of the day, we really need to focus on our vision here. And we have a lot of great relationships with cultivators who understand that. And,
Mm.
you know, a big thing we're trying to do as the invent room is we're trying to kind of stay away from the traditional strains. They'll always be a good part of our stable, but we want to bring back things we don't see a lot of solvent-free forms in.
Okay.
We realize there's a kind of traditional menu floating around the solvent-free scene with some of the garlics and the sweet gases, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
the fruit names and things like that. And we really just want to bring back some of the maybe more
Mm.
original genetics. Want to bring back just some of the things that just bring more of a variety. And that's something I'm really excited about
Mm.
sourcing through different cultivation facilities, is having the accessibility to do that, because they're very excited to tell us what they have going on as far as pheno hunting, different things that they're
Mm.
trying. But with having a relationship of so many individual facilities, I respectfully don't have to wait their 4 month span to kind
Mm-hmm.
of figure that out, to figure out the
Mm.
pheno hunt. We can go from cultivation to cultivation to figure out when you're ready. Let us know. We'll be here. We'll captivate on it. We'll collect it. And it's really cool to have so many relationships to kind of maintain that presence always. We're always looking at new phenos. We're always looking at new strains. We're looking at old strains. We're looking at newly developed strains, whether that be clone only, tissue culture, original genetics, seeds, just whatever the horizon is. It's all about really maintaining the most traditional mantra I think we all follow, which is the fire in, fire out. And something that makes me really excited is that with not necessarily having our own cultivation facility, the corners really can't be cut at all. We have to get ready to, we buy the same product that a dispensary would, that they would then
Mm.
package for and ready to smoke product. So for us, that freshness is key, but the actual material type is very key. To have those colas, those large trimmed nugs,
Mm.
you know, they really do play a large role in quality, in my opinion.
Yeah, one of the things that we were talking about before you came on the show was that, you are planning on taking a bit of a different approach, being that you're not cultivating, you're processing and sourcing all kinds of material to have a real large variety in your menu. Uh, why did you make that decision, and why are you excited about that?
Well, you know, I've worked for a lot of companies in the past to where we had one cultivation. And with that, you have a range of cultivars that you are now able to utilize.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you know, with the growing process, we have about 4 months until those strains are ready.
Yeah.
And I'm really a facilitator of learning and really growing on yourself. So with
Mm-hmm.
that, I'm always big on grow up pheno, harvest it. I understand the first harvest, may need to get your feet wet a little bit. I always think the second one's going to be a little bit better. But with that, I mean, we're talking serious time, you know, and time is money, but more importantly, that's a long time to wait for one strain. And, you know, cultivation facilities have a memo too. They have to pump out what works, what sells, what's
Yeah.
doing great, and to keep their quality up. So for me, it's really, I felt very contained a lot. And I felt really almost a barrier that I felt I wanted to break. I wanted to get out, and I wanted to explore. And really, in Arizona, we have some great guys doing some really good things. We
Mm-hmm.
have some people going, some new licenses being taken advantage of, some new facilities. Someone saying down there in the comments, Loud Lab. Loud Lab's a new cultivation. Got to give them a shout out. They're doing great things. We'll definitely be working with them in the future.
Awesome.
They're holding the high quality, the great standards, and those are exactly the group of people we want to be working with, and those are the people we will be working with. And that's exactly why I wanted to branch out. It really ties into a question you had earlier on why I wanted to do this. I want to work with everyone. I want to spread the love. I want to create a positive industry that we can all benefit from each other, you know, in a very positive way. And I think a lot of people in this industry nationwide hold that same regard. But for me personally, in my own adventures, I've seen fewer actually represent that in their company. So I
Mm.
just plan to really, really do that here in Arizona, and if not, maybe spread nationally, you know, to something to where really we can spread the love, you know, really kind of create a collaboration. It's all about working together. You know, I say it to everyone I talk to, us hash makers, we got to stick together, you know, and it's bigger than hash makers, us cultivators, us retail, us wholesale managers, everyone in the industry, no matter what you do, from marketing to advertising, the invention will be doing in all of that, you know. And I
Mm.
think every company does, and we all have these families and these groups of teams. We all want one thing. We all want to change the stigma that we've all kind of been assigned, you know, growing before this was an industry, before this was necessarily accepted, let alone essential.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, I think that we're all growing together. I think we're all making great strides to really change the ideology of what this industry is, change the professionalism of maybe what a person like us used to be deemed. You know, the
Mm-hmm.
stereotype is real for someone who's involved in cannabis, you know, and I want to change that. And I'm not going to do it single-handedly. There's a lot of people out there doing it as well. And I'm just blessed to be among them. You know, my family, we're just really blessed to be new business owners. Kind of to tie back to the licensing, I felt like I kind of skipped through that question. As my bad, but with the licensing, you know, we're really focused on finding that like-minded group. We definitely have found that group. We're excited to facilitate a great relationship with them. We're in the latter parts of hopefully securing a license. That's about all I can say on that particularly right now.
Mm-hmm.
But with that, we have a very good relationship. We are going to be in a group that really sees what we see, and that's the growth of this industry statewide and where we can take it nationally. And we're really, really excited about that, and really excited to not only accelerate, but really bring everyone with us. We want to grow together, and we want to learn from people, and we're really excited. And to get those licenses isn't very easy.
Mm-hmm.
The licenses, the Arizona Medical Marijuana Act is the AMMA. That is a 20-page, 7-section statute that the Arizona Department of Health Services mandates. The AZDHS is the group who runs the entire program. The AMMA is where they mandate the rules of regulation of the dispensaries and dispensary agents,
Mm-hmm.
qualifying patients from our local caregivers, testing facilities, applications for licensing. They mandate everything. And we have a great relationship with the AZDHS, and we're really excited to be a compliant operation that just does everything they need to do in that regard, but then pushes what we need to do. And maybe people who don't understand that, people who just want some high quality product and want to move on. So we're really excited to, exactly like Foxtrax said, really have big things coming.
So when do you expect to have products hitting the shelves? You know, normally a lot of people that we've had on the show are either, you know, super long standing established hash makers or people kind of all over the spectrum. That's why I was excited to bring you on, someone who is in the middle of that process, who is almost to the
Absolutely.
finish line. What does the rest of the year look like for you guys? And for the people that are tuned in, when can they get to a point where they can start purchasing some of your products?
Well, to everyone tuning in, we are very excited to announce that we will probably have a big, big announcement. The announcement everyone's been waiting for, as far as where will we be location-wise, how we will, our licensure, the company we'll be working with. We will have that announcement probably within the month.
Awesome.
And we're really, really excited about that. Our year is looking very promising, and we're looking to just extremely get product on the shelf immediately. We're looking at maybe a couple months time tops, but I say
Okay.
that very, very conservatively.
Okay. So still a ways out, but that's okay. You know, for everyone who's tuned in, it sounds like the message is, you know, don't give up on the dream. Keep pushing, even though the tangle and thicket of getting licensure is long and difficult. Do you have any advice for people who are either maybe going to go through that process or are already going through it? You know, what lessons have you learned trying to get licensed now? Because it sounds really, I mean, it sounds like a huge pain in the ass, to be frank.
No, absolutely. You and Rackham's are definitely not wrong. The headache is real, but it's something that, you know, I've been meaning to do for a long time. And
Mm-hmm.
thankfully, I got to be completely honest and very humbly honest. The connections we've been able to make in this industry, it's been fairly, I will never say easy, but the headache has not been as sincere as it can be and has been for a lot of companies I've worked with. We've been really lucky to find a group very quickly that we find we can do some great things with. We're really excited to hit the ground running with them. We have our lab built out, ready to go. We're not waiting on anything or anyone. We have no big investment groups or no people to stand in the way. Funding is always great and good to have, needed, necessity, of course. But we are going to be hitting the ground running very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that we're really excited to do. And I'll tell you, really, everything is mandated by the AMMA, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But doing that, sharing a license with a license holder like we are, I got to give really a huge props to that license holder. They take a lot of that headache away for us. They really do. You know, they have the license. They do a lot of, they say, appealing, a lot of the different things that goes into that, the zoning, the regulations. They, of course, employ the compliance officers, you know, so it's really, it's very nice, the kind of headache they in a sense, take away from us. I can't really be honest. I got to be honest with you. I can't lie like I've been pulling my hair out necessarily. It's been a very smooth transaction. Or really, really easy flow. And I've been really, really excited about it, to be completely honest. And I think the pandemic that's been happening right now has given us a little bit of some time to kind of help work itself out. You know, really given the time to build our plane on the ground before we take off.
Gotcha. So to shift gears just a little bit, you know, we've been blessed to have really, really high quality hash makers, you know, on the show, participating in the comments, you know, really being a community part of this. Who are some hash makers and who are some people that you follow and that are inspirational that you would recommend other people to follow and, you know, learn from? Who are those people to you, and who do you like to follow? Who do you source some of your education from?
Well, it's definitely an amazing question. That's really, again, what I and the Invention, what we're all about, is really teaming up together. And I'm happy to say a lot of them really seem to be in the comments. Rackham's, first and foremost, guy's absolutely great at what he does. Great guy as well. The products he makes are just as good as it gets. Yeah, Fox
Awesome.
Tracks. Another one, Fox Tracks. Love what he's doing on the medical side of things. The CBDA, the CBD, absolutely killing it. Nicotine is someone who has definitely helped me in the past. He's actually gotten on the phone with me a couple times and really helped me in the beginning parts of me kind of setting up my lab and different things like that. You guys have always been I always really preach your guys' name and your company. You guys have always been a huge help. Love the education you guys are doing. Always been a huge part about that. Always really love. That's kind of why when we met at MJ BizCon, why I felt like we really clicked. And really, you know, that group of guys, the Hashishin podcast is a great podcast. He's doing some really great stuff, has some great people on there. Jen Doe, as a female hash maker, who's really doing some killer stuff with her single source work. Love what she's doing. Blue Ice is the cookies. He's just absolutely killing it. So, you know, all these guys, there's really a lot of people really just doing what we're trying to do and doing what we're doing. You know, I think we're all one here. You know, we're trying to learn, you know, and Simpson Solventless, another huge one. Simpson Solventless, had to throw that out there, kind of just thinking as they come to me. Love his creativity, what he does with his products and his molds and different things, just absolutely incredible. But I think we all have the same goal. We all really want to facilitate the culture. We all want to do this for the culture and do it for each other. And there's a lot of knowledge to be shared. Exactly. And there's a lot of people out there doing it, and I learn from it. I grow from it. I try to facilitate those things into my company, and we're going to do those as we hit the ground running. And kind of to point on what Rackham said earlier, it's a good point, you know, to really cut the to let the license holder kind of, in a sense, deal with that red tape. So we can focus not on the licensing, not on that side, even though it's something that's always in a regard. Compliance is a key focus. But once that's handled, it's handled. You know,
now it's time to make some products.
Exactly. Let's get moving, you know, and that's exactly what we're here to do. You know, we're really here to just hit the ground running and create a high quality, solvent-free product that people can stand behind, people can be proud of. And really, I really want to get a lot of people out here to get their names on it. I want to do a lot of collaborative efforts, a lot of really big name things to where we can shake things up. And really the collaborative efforts, I think, will be really exciting as we have some interesting things in the works to where some of those collaborations won't just be with guys here in the industry. We plan to really branch out into other industries because, you know, as I put it, we as our own culture, yes, I feel like the marijuana industry is a part of that culture, but there's so many other industries that are a part of that inadvertently. I always believe everyone enjoys flower. Everyone enjoys concentrated products. You know, everyone out there in some way, shape, or form enjoys cannabis, either the larger form of. And that's why I'm excited to bring different industries and different people together, where it be beer companies, tattoo artists, you know, glass companies, you know, a lot of just different things to where I feel like we all kind of have passions on already, just to bring them under the same roof and facilitate a growth and this culture that we all live and breathe.
Yeah, that's a great explanation. And I want to sprinkle in a question. Fox asked this a while ago, but great question. What's your take? What are some of the more popular hash cultivars down in Arizona and for you, and that what you guys are excited about? You know, you had said that a lot of the flavors, you know, maybe you didn't say they're getting stale, but there's a lot of the same things that have been washed and that are making the
Absolutely.
rounds. What are you excited about, and what are some of these hash cultivars that are going ham down in Arizona?
Well, I have to say it just because I know everyone in Arizona would hate me if I didn't. GMO, the GMO, I think is kind of just everywhere, but
Yeah.
GMO is probably the most used cultivar I see in solvent-free extraction, whether it be the hash or the hash rosin, live hash rosin.
Yeah.
I see that pretty consistently. Other than the GMO, I see a lot of OGs, which is actually exciting. It's kind of a little bit of a generalization, but OGs really people have really honed in on here in Arizona. Whether that be because we have a melting pot of a lot of Cali guys, or some people that came in from Colorado, but OG is one of the favorite cultivars, period, here in Arizona. So it's been nice to see that transcend into hash products. A lot of kind of name brand genetics I see kind of seep through a lot, which honestly kind of surprised me. The Blue Dream, maybe just because of the big trichome head size, you know, due to its maybe lasting kind of old school popularity, but I do see that a little bit. A lot of the papayas, I think that's kind of around a lot for a lot of people. The papaya I see in a cross everywhere. I see a lot of the papaya crosses, whether it be the sweet gas with the GMOs or the garlicky chemies, kind of the more petrol-based terpenes. But really, I would have to say, as a generalization, Fox, really the chemi, petrol, the chem diesels, the chem dogs, chem 91s, the GMOs, the road dogs, the kind of heavy chemi flavors, probably because I do so well in yield, is what I see a
Yeah.
lot of here.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I think it was either Rackham's or one of the other people tuned in was talking about SFVOG as one of their tops. You know, I'm sitting
Love the
here
SF.
wishing that White Widow or AK-47 might wash well if you're talking about bringing back, you know,
See
I
that?
guess the older strains from my older world.
I'm in the same boat. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, if you guys ever get any really great White Widow full melt, give me a call. I might have to take a road trip and fly down there.
Absolutely. Will do.
And since we got a couple other ones here, I'm going to sprinkle one more in. Another one from Vox. We got some other ones that I want to cover too, but Vox, I had to ask this one because this is, you know, puts you on the spot a little bit. Do you think
Crucial.
that when the AZ market goes rec, will the med program suffer in any way? Because often there are some trade-offs when markets go rec, but there's also social justice issues wrapped up in recreational legalization too.
Absolutely.
What's your hot take on this?
Well, I think particularly a lot of the companies that say would suffer from a recreational standpoint are a lot of the companies that are necessarily trying to fight that. You know, there's a lot of corporate cannabis moving in Arizona. And there's a lot of big people coming in and doing large groups and a lot of big things to where they're almost quite literally anticipating a recreational program. So we actually tried to go for rec last year, and it very notoriously we were one of the only states in the nation where it actually didn't pass. So I think with that, it had a lot of people coming in to where it's really a lot of people are banking on a shoe-in this year, which I wouldn't necessarily do, but it's safe to say. It's been a long time coming for the recreational program. So I think, again, with the time Arizona takes to get to their decision making and to get to their mandates and legislatures, I think there are some aspects of the medical program that might suffer. But I think really it's the same companies of that medical program that would then cross over into the recreational field or more base their model around the recreational program. I think wouldn't necessarily suffer. It would be more of a shift, whereas some of the medical program people would, of course, stay strong. stay firm. I hear a lot of people really holding on to the belief that it's going to be kind of a two-line system. You're going to have your one line with your rec, one line with your med. And I believe a lot of people would really like to hang on to their medical cards. You know, you avoid a lot of the recreational taxes. Some of it's a little bit cheaper. And now just recently they made our state card system into 2 years instead of one. You don't have to renew every year. It's every 2 years. So they're trying to make things better. I don't know if that maybe might go away. There's a lot of things up in the air. But I will tell you, a lot of people, really to answer the question truthfully, a lot of people are anticipating rec. And I don't think that they will suffer as much as I think they'll just really grow from it. And they'll really just blossom into what a lot of people are waiting for. A lot of people are just at that cusp. And the recreational growth of the demographic is really what they're waiting for.
So change can be painful, but businesses will have to evolve kind of regardless whether or not they want to.
Well, and I think a lot of people really want to, you know, I think a lot of people, you know, for us, for as large of a city and as large of people, as many people as we have in the state, when you really look at ratios, we have a fairly small amount per capita of medical patients. So, you know, I think really from a business standpoint, the demographic of just your clientele, your customers, they won't be patients anymore, they'll be customers, will just absolutely fly through the roof. And I think that, of course, a lot of businesses are accepting of that. I think maybe some businesses, it'll be maybe difficult to keep up with the supply and demand.
That's what Matt was saying, that supply is just non-existent in Arizona. Demand is very high. There's just not enough being grown, extracted, produced, period, right?
Yeah, no, there is. The demand is always exceeds the supply in Arizona. And, you know, as a business owner, I think that obviously creates a bit of stress, but I honestly would prefer it that way. You know, if we're going to be completely honest, you know, I want the supply to always try to meet the demand, you know, because I need to be constantly pushing. We need to be trying to meet that. And I want people to want it more and more, you know, as they learn more and more what it is. And that's the exciting thing, again, about being able to go out there and source from different facilities, is that here in Arizona, one of the better parts of our industry from the cultivation aspect is there is no cap on plants. There is no count. So you can grow quite literally as much as you can afford and as much as your space will allow. And a lot of people are taking advantage of that. Some people are doing it to where it's maybe a little bit too commercial and a little bit too large to where the quality, of course, won't meet our standards. But there's a lot of people at a very sincere commercial level doing it at a very, there's no plant count, Foxtracks. Yeah, none at all. And with that, you have people doing some great things at large levels. And I think that our supply will always be there. We have a lot of people really doing some great things, really, and thankfully, because the relationships we've been able to build, we're able to jump in front of the line. We have a lot of people really excited about our company, really excited about our brand and our product, and they've been admittedly excited about kind of what I've done in the industry in Arizona, and they're excited they're excited to see what I can do with other products. You know, again, at Grow Sciences, I was limited to one cultivation. You know, so with the invention room, we'll be able to explore and all over the state. If there's anyone growing a quality product that needs to be quality tested, it needs to, of course, go through our strict quality control guidelines and regulations. Once that's over, if you're continuing to put out a credible product, we're going to be on top of that every time. And thankfully, as I said, with our relationships as they are, a lot of people are doing that, and they want to see how we can translate. Like I said in the beginning, they want to see how we can translate that product. So we have a lot of people in our batting cage. We have a lot of people rooting for us, and we really are going to do some great things in Arizona. And again, you know, I gotta humbly be a little quiet just because of things we're going through right now with contracts and things. But please be assured that international expansion is a very sincere and serious thing for the inventor. Not only just because it's a goal, but we have with possible groups, we have the ways to do just that. So we're really excited to grow, to keep pushing the solvent free, to push the education, and to get more people under this beautiful umbrella that we all live.
That's awesome. I'm excited to hear that you guys have such big plans going forward. We've got about 10 minutes left, so I want to ask 2 more questions from the audience, and then we'll wrap up with the last big question. Colson Cannabis, they've worked with us. They've worked with Simpson Solventless.
Right.
great company up in Canada. Really love these guys. What are some of the most popular products and textures in your market? What are people really loving on solventless wise in Arizona? And as well as what do you like the most?
Absolutely. Well, I think first and foremost, I got to give it to them. I constantly see a demand for fresh press. You know, we have a real love for the jams, the diamonds, a lot of the shelf stable consistencies.
Mm-hmm.
But really, the fresh press, I've seen an incredibly large demographic of people wanting it as natural as it comes.
Mm.
And again, you know, we in Arizona offer virtually all the consistencies out right now. I will be very clear and transparent. And the invention room, our main goal is to create more. We are researching and developing a lot of really cool mechanics on how to do just that. We have a
Mm-hmm.
lot of cool things in the works. We have a lot of big excitement soon, a lot of big
Cool.
announcements coming soon. So we're really excited about that.
Yeah.
My personally favorite texture, I know it's maybe not everyone's favorite, but I'm a butter boy at heart.
Nice.
You know, in Arizona, I think it kind of just came naturally. It's very hot out here, you know, and
Easy to dab.
it's easy to butter up
Yeah.
unintentionally, you know, and it just kind of happened to me unintentionally. The terp just kind of really, I always just call it just exploding, you know, and it really just pops up and it really just opens for me. I was the same thing that Rackham's just said. If I did get fresh press, I was always one to just whip it really quick, still have it in that fresh press consistency, but not dabbing it all and butter up on me. And I would just really love how the flavors would come out in that. The
Nice.
inventing room will be focused on, of course, releasing any and all consistencies, and like I said previously, creating new ones.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of to just read through the clicks out here, Rackham's was saying that he wants to get Rackham's out in Spain. You know, we're really a company where we want to get Rackham's out in Arizona. You know, we want if you're doing big things, which a lot of people are, we want to make collaborative efforts. We want to do products together with all checks balanced and everything honored and vouched for, and we really just want to grow together as a company and as an industry, and really together internationally.
Yeah, so if I could bookend that a little bit for you guys at Colson Cannabis, one of the lessons that we've learned talking with a lot of our clients and our customers who use our equipment is that you want to have a lot of different textures. And one of the things that Jillian Crawl, the hash production manager at Papa and Barkley, said on one of her previous
Oh yeah,
episodes
heck
is
yeah.
that the one of the key skills of a hash maker is knowing what textures a strain will produce in the first place, not just trying to take a strain and make it do something that it might not be able to do. So many textures, and just like what Jacob said, you're going to want to play around, you're going to want to experiment. So I got one more for you, and then I'm going to ask you some. So if you had some questions for us, by the way, and I didn't get to them, I apologize. We have a limited time. We do these about once a week. Shoot us a DM, shoot Jacob a DM on the inventing room. I'm sure he'd be happy to help you too. We are all
Absolutely.
about spreading the community and spreading the knowledge. So one more before we get into some of my last ones. Oh, this is a hot topic. What do you think about solventless edibles, and is that something that you guys plan to do?
I'm very glad someone asked that, because yes, it actually is something we very seriously plan to do. It kind of just fell in our lap, but a lot of the groups we're talking to right now are tied in with existing kitchens, and
Mm,
they have very, very known edible products in the state right now.
hmm.
They're doing a lot of big things, and I would absolutely love to collaborate, you know, with us, because again, it's not just internationally. We have a lot of collabing to do in the state. You know, we want to bring that table. We want to invite everyone to that table as well. We want to sit there and we want to make it bigger as well. And we're excited for have those statewide collaborations with different edible companies and kitchens out here to properly infuse their product and make sure that, of course, everything is met, which will be their level of expertise. I'm certainly no chef, but we will make the high quality hash rosin for it. And something I just want to really note. Rackham's, yeah, definitely. We plan to do more than just rosin, and I say that particularly as an isolated THCA. There's a lot of different things we plan to do in edibles, and it's actually what I was just getting to. I find that the notorious 220, you know, the 160, the kind of the trash bags, if you will, are always called food grade. I want it to be
Yeah.
made very clear. If we do a collaboration in edibles in Arizona with the invention room, it will not be that level of hash. Nothing
Mm,
against it. I love it. I think that's where it belongs. But just kind of like Rackens is pointing out, we want to push the envelope.
yeah.
We want to see it putting a higher quality concentrate in there, which of course will translate like I think it will.
Yeah, to a higher quality product. So not just using your food grade microns, but also really taking advantage of some of your top shelf microns and using those for, premium edibles. There's definitely a lot of gummies companies that I've seen that are not a lot, but there's some companies specifically with gummies. It's a topic a lot of people are interested in. So I'm really excited to see what you guys got there. So with the limited time that we have left, and I've learned this lesson a couple times, Instagram will literally kick me off right at the end. I wanted to ask you kind of a big one here, which is, where do you think Solventless is headed in the next couple of years, and how do you want to be a part of that?
Well, I think personally, Solventless is really going to take over the industry. I think that it slowly is right now. I think that the understanding of a high quality product is slowly taking over the education field right now. I think that as a stereotypical group of people, I hate to do it, but as a group of industry people as we are, a lot of us are health conscious. A lot of us are really trying to be healthy and really trying to do natural types of medication and holistic types of medication. And with that, it comes down to a wanting for cleanliness, a thirst for something more pure. And I think that's what the initial intent of concentrate was in the first place. I always say when I was making BHO and hydrocarbons many years ago that I always thought what we were doing was kind of what I wanted hash rosin to be. I always said you took the nug and then you got the juice out of it, and the concentrate is what's left over. But when you add chemicals and hydrocarbons and things, you change the molecular structure. So with that, I'm really excited for people just to get a basic understanding of what hash is. I think it's safe to say history repeats itself. Hash has certainly had its honorary standing point on the pedestal when it comes to the 70s and 80s and maybe even earlier in the 60s, internationally. And I think hash has had a lot of love over thousands of years. And I think it's time for a medical standpoint that it gets a lot more. I think that as the demographic learns and the people not only in the industry but all over the world learn about the medicinal value, the honest recreational value, the fact that how many people can be brought together, the like-mindedness, and I think it'll really kind of help shape the world in so many industries in so many different ways. And I just want to be a part of that as one of the innovators. I want to be someone who really pushes the envelope, someone who spreads education, someone who's at the forefront of new ideologies, new mechanics, new consistencies, textures, ways you do business. I'm really just trying to bring a more positive light into something that I already feel so strongly and passionate for already. And I think that together, all of us hash makers are really going to get that job done.
That's awesome. I literally could never have said that any better. That is really cool to hear what your take is on this. How can people find you? It's at _inventing_room on Instagram, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, _inventing_room. And then my personal Instagram account will be attached to that and all sorts of posts and things like that.
Awesome. So right when we're done here, I have to type it up with my thumbs and put the episode together on Instagram so you can catch this. This will also be up on YouTube probably in about a week or two as we can get through it. Jacob, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Really appreciate your time. Would encourage anyone who didn't watch the whole thing to go back and at least listen to it. There's some gold nuggets in this conversation. And as a parting note for everyone here who's tuned in, and Jacob, this is for you too, on Monday, we've got Roz and Ryan coming on in the evening, so that'll be great.
Cool.
The Jar Jam Master himself. And then on Wednesday next week, Eric Nugshots will be joining us for an Instagram Live. We're going to be talking all about trichomes, photography, and media. So got some great episodes coming up. Thank you for coming on. Let's talk more soon. Keep us in the loop, man, and we're here to help you.
Absolutely, will do. Thank you for having me. I appreciate everything you guys do. Eric's definitely the man. Ross and Ryan's the man. Keep killing it, you guys, and thank you for having me on. We appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. All right, thank you all for tuning in. See you guys next time. Baby,